All right, so here we go again.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to jump into how the final week of prep went and what actually transpired, on Friday night into Saturday, prejudging and into finals. So I'll start off by just saying, his lowest food intake, and it was still not severely low, came. So we had a high day, I think, on Friday and Saturday before the show. So yeah. we had quite a few high days because what would happen with him, and again, when I say high days, those are high carb days. What would happen with him, and this is a major goal with me and with everyone. We want to get you to the point of having those high carb days. Mm-hmm. And when you have those high carb days, I have you track your weight the day before the high carb day, bedtime. Let me take that back. Mm-hmm. So we track the weight the morning of the high carb day, bedtime, and the next morning. Mm-hmm. Probably 9 out of 10 times, your weight was lower the day after your high day than it was the morning that you started the high day.
The only day that it wasn't was when my leg day moved one day, and it was post leg day, and so I still had some water retention in my legs the next morning from that. That was the only time it didn't actually go lower.
And what he's talking about there is most people, after you train legs, you will hold a couple of pounds of extra. You'll be a couple of pounds heavier, and that's just because of the amount of blood, nutrients, water that your legs pull in from a hard and heavy leg day. Mm-hmm. But also remember, it happened one time, but there were other times where your weight would still be down after your leg day. And I intentionally put one of his high carb days in on a leg day for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And he just had that one time to where his weight was up the next day. So when his weight was up, we didn't do a back-to-back high. Partial high carb day, or sometimes we would throw in a full high carb day, except maybe the sixth meal, because generally his fifth or sixth meal on his original high day was good food.
Oh yeah, yes it was. I always look forward to that meal 5, and sometimes meal 5 and meal 6. But then there's also the 9 pounds.
Oh yeah. Talk about that a little bit if you want.
Oh, just that. I guess that my body has really has a really good ability to process high amounts of food. Because so whenever we would do these high carb days, my wake up weight and then my bedtime weight there would be a 9 pound difference on average between those two, and so 9 pound difference. So I'd wake up that morning at say 2:17, and then I would end the day and weigh myself. And I was making sure that the scale was on the same spot, and I was on the same spot of the bathroom every time, and I would even move it around and take multiple measurements to make sure that I got an accurate number, just to make sure that everything was good. And it always came out on these high days, it came out about 9 pounds. So I would go to bed, so I'd wake up at like 2:17, and then by the end of the day, I would weigh 226. I remember noticing that one time and thinking to myself, "Ooh, man," I was like, "That's a lot." And I was like, "We'll see what I wake up at, and we'll see." And then, sure enough, the next morning, I'd wake up and I think I would be like half a pound lower. I would have lost it all, that's plus crazy. A little bit overnight. Yeah. And so, I guess genetics. I don't know. But
the first time that happened was. So I'm going to back up a little bit. During this entire process, we went through posing at least once a week in here. We've got to the point to where we have multiple people coming in for posing. So if you're someone that needs posing practice, we're going to try to continue to do it.
Oh yeah.
Each Saturday. I've been doing it Saturday and Sunday. Richmond Athletic Club, which is where we're at right now, and this is the noise you hear in the back. They are building the posing room. The posing room is supposed to get painted. We're in the posing room now. It's supposed to get painted tomorrow. They'll be putting mirrors up, so we're going to move the posing from out here into here. Anyone is welcome. If you're not a member here, you will have to pay a fee to get in. It's like $5 to $8, I believe. But as of right now, I lead the posing classes, but I'm not charging anything right now. But later on, with them building this posing room, we're going to have to start charging something. But so while you can get in here for no charge right now, rather than maybe a $5 fee, you should come on in.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. And, everybody can always learn something. I learn something every time we're in here from somebody else. All right, now we're going to go back to his low days. So, as I mentioned earlier, a week before the show, Friday and Saturday, we had two high days back to back. My plan was no matter what happened, like if he had a 10-pound loss on that Sunday after his high day, we were going to go lower carbs on Sunday.
Yep.
Probably Monday, Tuesday, and maybe part of Wednesday. I wasn't sure yet. But by this point, I knew how his body was going to respond to the carbs once we started his carb load. And from the fact that I knew that he generally had 2 days in a row we could carb load him, let me know that we're going to start his carb load on probably Wednesday morning, maybe Wednesday afternoon, but by Wednesday evening, the carbs are going to be coming in hot and heavy. And then by Thursday and Friday, we're going to talk about that. So when I say he had low days, his low days were nothing stupid. There was, I don't think he suffered at any point, even though over the course of the 3 days where the carbs were lower.
No, I might even during those low days. I mean, I was starting to feel a little lower on energy, but I think that's just because of the relation of carbs that I was getting then versus what I was getting before. And I think that's all it was. I mean, but it wasn't anything I couldn't handle by any means. I mean, I was a little low on energy, but not bad at all. I mean, it was still very manageable.
So there was no suffering. There was no let me take you below 100 carbs per day. Probably not even. No. I don't know the number because I didn't count it, but it's nothing like that. No. All right, so then we move on to what day did we cut out the cardio?
I think I stopped doing cardio. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which one.
So the reason for keeping the cardio in, though we could have stopped it altogether, if there was any amount of water or a pinch of fat that we could burn off while on these low carbs, then let's do the little bit of cardio to pull whatever we can on off, just to get this to 100%, 110% by Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So we did that, and the cardio was not intense. Pretty much was a treadmill the entire prep. That's all we use. That's all I use myself, and it's majority of the time that's all I have people use, unless they are at a point to where they're behind. Then I have to have them use the stairs, and we'll pull the stairs out once they get to the level that I think they should be at, to where they're going to progress only on the treadmill. Okay, so we get into Wednesday, and we do start your high day on Wednesday.
I think it was Wednesday evening or Wednesday afternoonish.
Yeah. So we roll in, start to bring in the carbs on Wednesday. Thursday rolls around. At this point, we don't manipulate water. We don't manipulate sodium. It stays consistent. You should keep it consistent what you've been the entire 14 or 20 week prep or 8 week prep, whatever. You shouldn't change your water intake. Maybe fluctuate by a quarter gallon or so, along the way. But this final week, it should not fluctuate at all. You want to stay at your same level until, obviously I told him when we're going to start to manipulate the water. Sodium was never manipulated.
No.
We keep Himalayan Peak sea salt in all the way from day one all the way up into show day. So we roll into Thursday, high carbs. Roll into Friday. We're at the show. We're at the venue in the hotel room Friday. I remember asking you you sent me a posing video to let me know how you were doing.
Yeah.
And by this time, you had half of Wednesday, all of Thursday, and part of Friday.
About half of Friday, probably.
Half of Friday.
Maybe a touch less.
Body was just soaking everything up. Midsection tighter than, I'm going to say it again, banjo string. It never changed. He never bloated up.
Well, and then I remember watching, and then I remember my lovely fiance, Vivian, she took the video, and after she showed it to me, after I watched it, I was like, oh man, Steve is going to love this.
Yep, and that's what the text said, man, and I was like, my goodness, this is nuts. Myself, I've got a bloating issue, so I couldn't handle what he was dealing with right now, so when he sends me this video at 12 noon or 1, whatever it was, I think
it was around 1, I think.
I said then, I think you can handle any food we throw at you. So we go, the rest of the day is planned. Still, taking in the amount of food that you took in, your midsection was never changing, but you were continuing to fill out. I want to go back for a minute. Friday is when we manipulate the water.
Oh, yeah.
To control bloating, we never have water with food. We always have water around food, whether it's 10 minutes after a meal
or in between meals.
And in between meals.
Yeah.
And as the day goes on, we lower that amount, but that's another topic for another time. That's for you if you use me to compete.
But during that time, I mean, about the probably 18 hours or so before the show, from that point on, just everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed. I couldn't keep myself laying in the bed because I kept getting up and I would look in the mirror and I would see new stuff.
Yep.
Just hour by hour, just literally seeing it in real time. It was amazing.
So at one point, when we got to the hotel, you came up and just checked you out in person. And at this point, I saw videos of you that morning, but at this point, I was shocked. Like, the first thing I noticed was new leg lines that had came out in your quads. It was just madness, man. That's all I can say. It was madness from head to toe. So when you came up there, maybe you came back later. Did you come back later when we decided to?
No, this was the first time that I saw you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I did go see you later that night again, but this was the first time.
So when he came to the room, and I'd already made the reference earlier, I think you could handle anything. I had played out in my mind all day long that I'm going to surprise him and give him let him go get him something real to eat. So we went for a burger and fries. I knew it wouldn't hurt him at all. So he goes and gets his burger and fries.
So good.
If you followed me on IG, Christmas at Wendy's was
yeah.
that was the fun.
That was so hilarious. Me and Vivian cracked up at that so hard.
It was good. So he has his burger and fries, and then so probably an hour and a half later, he comes back to the room, phased in no way, like in a negative way. Everything was positive about the burger and fries. After the burger and fries, you had one more meal. Was it a meal with a jelly?
I think it had jelly. I think it had some of the baby food in it.
Yep. Okay.
I think, and it may have been very little meat. Maybe. No, I don't think there was any meat in it. There wasn't any meat in it. No, none.
So again, the way that he was continuing just to soak up food, I decided to throw in some sugar, and then we threw in some alcohol at bedtime. So, okay, Saturday goes to bed. Saturday rolls around. I get the first update from him Saturday morning. We actually go together to get our touch-ups. Take a look at him down in the lobby. Just mind-blowing stuff, man.
I still can't believe it.
So we plan out the day for his food, and again, whatever food we put him on, he continued just to soak it up. But it was really nothing bad. It was just protein was minimal, carbohydrates were high. We were able to throw in more jelly, squeeze tube baby food, basically whatever we wanted. So we get to.
For any of you who haven't had baby food, surprisingly, very good.
This
very
is
good.
We use the Gerber powder, oatmeal and rice, but I found that there are squeeze tubes of baby food, and generally it's one fruit-based item in there. Then like there's a green vegetable base, and maybe like sweet potato. So my favorite was apple cinnamon oatmeal, sweet potato, spinach, and apples was another one of my favorites.
I like both of those. I had both of those.
So that's something we used for. That was brand new. I decided on that. I think by Wednesday I decided, or maybe we did that before for one of the high carb days.
We did. We did for sure. I know that.
Okay, so I found out about it around 10 days before that, I think, and I tried it myself. All right, so now we're to the point of going into prejudging, and now is when we knew what was going to happen from there.
Well, you knew. I was still so focused, like that. I was keeping my game face on. I was going in there, no preconceived notions, no counting chickens, like nothing. Like I was there to handle business, and there was no. At no point did I ever think that I had it up until the moment they called my name, ever. Because I mean, when you're backstage, you really can't, especially when they have the lights dimmed down and stuff. Yeah. I mean, everybody looks like they're in good shape. You know, you can't tell looking at everybody else, and then you try to look down at yourself, and you can't see the differences and stuff. But then I got up there and got up at prejudging, and then whenever I get back and then I start sitting, the first thing I notice is I get my phone and I see all these text messages from people saying,
let me stop you right there.
Okay, go for it.
We're going to stop the video. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to jump right back into the remainder of the show.
Sweet.
I'm going to have to break it down into probably 3 parts.